Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
to the Bleed Big Blue podcast, dedicated coverage of the New York Football Giants by your hosts, Marco, J Money, Tim, and Captain Negative. Streaming to you live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch.
Chris is hydrated.
I'm good now. I'm good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah,
It's been a while.
I think we need to decompress after that season a little bit, and it's okay.
Yeah. The new drop's not ready yet, Marco. Yeah, we got a special gift for the fans. By the way, Marco, without giving too much away, I played for my wife, and she knew who that person was. She said immediately, like, who the person was and, how the world would know her. So,
Yeah,
it was
you should.
more than I was
You should know.
expecting. Right. And loves us very clearly and obviously. Right. 100%. Definitely knows who we are.
What do you got? I muffled my mic. What's up? How sensitive you guys sound?
Tim's prepared for the show. He's in show position.
That's right. I'm like, what is that? Well, go. I was about to, but it's one of those things. Is like as soon as you say, "Don't do it," now it's like all it is on my mind. But I'll probably cough about 50 more times. It's fine.
Oh my god. And you know what just I found out? My audio wasn't going.
What's that?
Now it is. Look at that intro, down in the tubes. They were hearing
that
a,
intro?
they were hearing a one-sided thing going on.
Who were they hearing? Me?
They were just hearing you and Tim. They were hearing Tim's long on the floor, and that's about it. So where do you want to start? Do you want to at the end of the Cowboys game? You want to go over the Cowboys game, or just like pretend it didn't happen? Or do you want to go right to the meat of the season?
I'm in there just like, let's talk about the season. Honestly, the Cowboys game didn't mean anything.
Right. Well, one thing that I want to say about the Cowboys game is, and it's going to be real quick, I'm just in a weird place where I was watching the game and I was like pretty much exactly what I wanted to happen happened. They played well enough for me to say, okay, like they didn't quit and there's some progress there, but they still lost, which allows us to have a top 10 pick, which I think we need. Now, how we use it.
That was the one thing I was worried about, Justin, because I'm watching the game and I'm like, I started looking at the standings, and I'm like, oh crap! If we get into we get 6 wins, that turns into like a tie between like 5 other teams. So God knows where we would have ended up drafting. So I was like, I was literally out loud rooting for Dak at the end of the game.
Right. The end of the game was perfect.
Yeah.
I was literally yelling, like, Cole got his knee down. I was like, Beasley got his knee down.
The only time in my life that I've ever rooted for the Cowboys.
In my pregame tweeting that I was doing, I believe I said I wanted it to be it's going to be a high scoring close game, but the Giants are going to lose in less seconds. And I got exactly what I wished for, and it felt horrible. It felt horrible tweeting it, and it felt horrible it coming true too. But I believe worst comes to worst, the Giants would have dropped to 12 or 13 if they would have won, and all the other nonsense could have happened.
Yeah.
So that's a middle of the pack then.
Aside,
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Obviously, has for the Giants. I just want everybody to know, you all love and appreciate Captain Negative, because you can go on his Twitter feed whenever you want to. You can subscribe to his rants and walk away when the time is fit. I'm telling you, if the Giants would have won and dropped to 13, I don't think. I mean, as it is, our group chat has been pretty solid for a week.
Right.
But if we were at 13, I mean, I think Jimmy's head might have exploded.
No, I would have went dead silence. I would have not even checked the chat. If we dropped down 13, I really don't know if I could take this off.
You would have gone on mute? You would have muted the conversation?
I'm like, you know what? I would literally start a chat with you guys outside of James, without him knowing.
We have to get all the good stuff before he gets on. Because when he gets on, we're probably not going to talk.
If we talk any positivity, this is the positive channel, guys.
30 minutes.
We'll sit there and be like, I love the off-season move they did. It's awesome. And then you go to our regular channel. It was the worst move ever.
We're
going to be done for the next 10 years. Let's storm the castle. Tomorrow's got to go.
Sort of what we did to Todd then, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd.
Man.
Absolutely.
We got a phone call. Let's see what's going on. It's 716. Hopefully he's ready to go.
Fine, don't worry about it.
What's up,
Rochester? What do we got?
Is it 716? Where's this calling from?
I'm in the Bronx, man. I went to school in Buffalo.
So that's why you got that Buffalo number. What's your name?
It's Al from the Bronx.
What's up? What do you got on your mind?
So it's still undecided whether or not Kyler Murray is going to play baseball or go pro, go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If he can somehow decide to play football, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. He's better than Haskins, better than anybody, better than Duke quarterback. He's better than any quarterback on the board. If you see what he did against Alabama, yes, he scored 34 points, facing a professional defense within college offense. He didn't have the weapons that can hang with that defense, and but the guy can run, pinpoint accuracy, bullet for an arm. I don't see any weaknesses besides his height. I don't know what you guys think, but he's definitely the best quarterback in the draft, and I'm willing to say even last year's draft.
It's funny. I'm with you. I mean, I like Murray's game without a doubt. I mean, granted, I got to figure out what kind of passion he has for football, since he is choosing baseball, from what I've heard. But
yes, he is. But I mean, right now there are plenty of reports. They're saying that he's considering football. I think. I don't know.
That would be nothing but positive for the Giants, because they will put another prospect in the pool, which means someone would drop down to 6, and more than likely people can trade in front of us to get both of them.
I don't like Haskins at all. I
think Haskins has the size. That's where I think Kyler Murray's hurting. He doesn't have the size, NFL size.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks that have the size and don't make it in the NFL. I mean, that's great.
Very
size
true.
is great. You know, the guy's got, again, the guy can make every throw. The guy knows when to run, knows when to stay in the pocket. He's just, I think he's a beast. I think it would be a shame to, if he's there, not to take him, because he's easily the best quarterback in the league, in the draft.
The problem that you're going to run into is, so a quarterback that plays baseball, it's not like, you know, a running back that plays baseball in Bo Jackson or a cornerback that plays baseball in Deion Sanders.
No, you're right.
Your quarterback,
I know where you're
you need
going.
a commitment there, and I don't. It would be hard for me to invest draft capital in a player without knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt.
If he would need, in order for this to work, he would need to be totally committed to baseball. Football. I completely agree, because it's not like a running back or a defensive back. It's not like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, where they can just come in the middle of the week. We need a quarterback who's going to be totally invested. I completely agree. However,
the problem is, I think that you are going to see him dabble in baseball, right? He's gonna explore that option, and quite frankly, he should, based on the type of prospect that he is there. However,
this is in my argument, this is the only case would be he would have to be totally committed to football. Now, if he gives the Giants that word, then of course I would definitely draft him over Haskins. I mean, I feel like at this point he's better than Russell Wilson was at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
He's got. I feel like he's got a stronger arm than Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just. I really feel like the guy is the strongest quarterback in the draft. It'd be a shame to imagine him with Barkley and Odell and Ingram and Shepard.
I'm totally with you on that.
What type of baseball prospect is he? Is he like legitimately?
Oh no, he's
like starting pitcher on the team.
He's top level.
No, he's an outfielder. He was drafted 9th last year's draft by.
Oh, he plays outfield.
Oakland. Yeah, he's a center fielder.
Like, would he be in every?
No,
you think?
You know, it's still yet to be seen. You know, but he definitely is a top prospect for them.
I don't know. If I had the choice between football or baseball, and I was a decent prospect in both, I would choose baseball because the contracts are guaranteed. More likely, you could stick around in the baseball.
More money, and you stay healthier. Let's be honest.
Look, it'll be wiser to play baseball, without a doubt. If you know for a fact you're going to be an MLB star, then of course you go the MLB route. You know, but that's yet to be seen. I mean, we know he can play football. You know, if you guys take a look at his tape, man, there's nothing in his tape that shows any weakness. So.
Yeah, I'm all for it. If he comes and decides he wants to play football, and if we get him, I'll be all for it.
Right. All right, Al, thanks. We're going to throw you on hold and come back to you in a little bit. I don't know. The main question is, will the Giants take a quarterback with that first spot?
I think they're taking the quarterback. Did you see pretty much the comments about Eli?
I couldn't wait to get into this today. So, you know, I worked the 9-to-5er today, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I work the 9-to-5er, I can usually hop on Twitter 2 or 3 times a day. You know, get the Giants information from all the beat writers. You know, and sort of catch up at the end of the day. When I was reading what the beat writers were writing about the press conference, I was intrigued, and then I came home and listened to it in its entirety. And Marco, I think you're with me. I mean, it's 50-50 to me right now that they would take a quarterback. I'm so intrigued by the Dave Gettleman, Eli Manning conversation. I wish that we had a way that we could know exactly what was said.
Here's the deal, though, with the conversation. Think about this. If it's not a hard conversation, you're not even bringing it up. So Gettleman's telling him, like, listen, I saw what was one of three things. It was pretty much, hey, we're going in a different direction, or hey, we want you back next year, but it's not going to be at the money that you're getting paid right now, or you're going to be our starter next year. Which, if you're going to be our starter next year, Eli doesn't even know that. I saw a thing with Archie Manning. That Archie is like, Giants don't deserve another losing season, and that's Archie Manning saying that. So I think Eli's literally, I think he's contemplating retiring right now.
So, the question as I see it is, will the Giants? These are the answers that I got. Do you think Eli Manning will be back for 2019? Dave Gettleman. We're gonna do what's best for the Giants, right? Pat Shurmur. Yeah, I do. And Eli Manning. We'll see. So you got the three main people in this problem, and no one knows what the hell they're doing. It's not an easy problem to solve.
Gettleman already talked to Manning, though. Gettleman already talked to Manning, so it was like Shurmur's not even in the discussion at this point. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, let's be honest about Pat Shurmur. Let's call a spade a spade. Shurmur, in terms of the Eli Manning conversation, the details surrounding that conversation just in general, not the conversation that happened Monday, just the national, and the local beat writer discussion on Eli that occurs ad nauseum every day. Pat Shurmur hasn't given us anything new or substantially different from what Macadone gave us. And
but the thing is,
the coach is being told what to say, or he's being handled by the front office, which is fine if that's the way that they want to handle it. But it also tells me that Pat Shurmur, he may not be as involved in this discussion surrounding Eli's future as we'd like to think. I think he'll be involved in selecting the replacement, but in terms of Eli, I think that's a John Mara, Dave Gettleman, Eli Manning conversation.
Yeah, because even they said during the Gettleman Eli talk, it wasn't Gettleman, Eli, and Shurmur. It was just Gettleman and Eli.
Right. And Eli went straight to Gettleman. He didn't go.
Well, you don't know.
He didn't go to Shurmur. He didn't go to Shurmur first. He went to Gettleman.
No, you don't know that.
We know who's running it.
Which to me would indicate that Manning wanted to discuss his contract.
I think Eli, even if he knows Eli, even if he does come back next year, there's no way it's going to be at the money that he's making right now.
Right.
That's impossible. And honestly, I think the best thing I would love to do is have Eli come in for the last year, have Drew Haskins or whoever we draft behind him for a year and learn.
Right.
I mean, granted, that might last maybe half a season before Eli gets benched, but who knows?
Well, it happened. Eli did it to Kurt Warner.
Yep.
Right. And here's the other thing that I thought was interesting about Gettleman's comments about Eli. At a point later in the press conference, I would say about 2/3 of the way through, someone asked about Eli, and Gettleman's answer turned to Eli can make all the throws, and then he paused and he said, that part he has and is not in question, which to me indicates that
there are parts in question.
There are parts in question. Those parts in question would be his pocket awareness, his ability to protect the football, and extend plays, make plays outside of the pocket.
That reminds me of something. I got to ask you guys a question because it bothers me every time. Every time Eli gets touched, do you guys feel like he's going to fumble?
Now, yes.
I mean,
was that too quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean seriously, because I'm like, oh my god, he's about to get sacked. Here comes a fumble.
Wrong.
Well, I will say, he looks afraid. I don't know if he actually is afraid, but he looks it because his athletic ability, in terms of his ability to extend plays and move around in the pocket, is severely limited. So he looks like he's aware of the fact that he's a sitting duck. And in terms of his ability to make plays, once the play reaches a certain point, he sort of knows that he's screwed. And from there, he's just, I mean, I've seen it a few times this year, he's making business decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He's 38. He knows he doesn't want to get hit.
Oh, exactly. And you know what? All the people that keep talking, his completion percentage is the best ever. Well, you know what? He needs to go over to thank Saquon when he's throwing those little 5-yard dump-offs.
Right.
When, no one's around.
I mean, let's not forget, it's easy for Giants fans to be stuck in the current issues surrounding this offense and the current era of Eli Manning, which I would say would start with when McAdoo became offensive coordinator. However, when Kilbride was offensive coordinator, Eli chucked the ball down the field every play.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the ball was going 10 to 12 yards down the field on every play.
Oh, he's one of the best deep ball throwers in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah.
Hell, I don't know if Giants fans will remember this, but there was a time, I'm going to say 2006, somewhere around there. The Giants were wearing those alternate red jerseys from time to time. We had a sixth-round pick named Jamar Taylor who had speed for days. And Eli would complete passes to him like 40 yards down the field. And that was all that guy could do when he was on the field. You knew he was just running a fly route. He didn't run anything except the fly right out of the slot. And Eli was completing passes to him, and you knew that was all he could do. So, Eli was a different quarterback then. 66% completion percentage in a West Coast offense is different from 59% in a run-and-shoot offense.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so
100%. And with his best years when he had, Plexico, but other like Knicks, Cruz, those years.
Yeah, I can't wait for James to get on here because I'm gonna read him the riot act about the double coverage and 8 in the box using our own team.
So.
Oh no! As far as Odell,
all right.
Odell.
All right, hold. That's another piece of information that we learned about Odell and his future with the team, and it's not in question, obviously.
No.
And nor it should be. You see what Antonio Brown and that stuff's doing. That's totally different from what anything Odell's ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other thing in terms of Odell and AB. If a quarterback has an opportunity to complain about a wide receiver, Eli Manning has an opportunity to complain about Odell Beckham Jr., but Eli keeps his name out of his mouth because he's a professional, but also because they're kind of buddies. He's been thrown to Odell since he was 18 years old. So, Ben Roethlisberger and AB, they are saying each other's names in the media. All that information is out. That's a much bigger problem.
That's the one thing that people are gonna. When Eli's all gone, you're gonna forget how professional he was, as far as never calls anybody out, never says anything bad about anybody, took the blame on himself every time. Wait till we get a different player, like somebody that's more emotional, and see what happens.
Right. Those were some of the biggest attributes to Eli. He was rock steady.
Especially playing in New York.
Right. He was rock steady. He was always available. In the beginning, his media skills weren't that hot, but like at least he was honest. He would stammer through them, but he would give you like the honest sports cliches. So there was like no controversy there.
Yep.
Now, say I don't even want to bring up the name of the Jet quarterback. Missed how many games this year already with a foot injury? You're going to go from one.
Well, that's all the people that wanted to go with Sam Darnold, and I'm not picking on Sam Darnold because I actually like his game.
I
think he's
too.
got a good future, but let's put it this way: he's already missed more games than Eli did in his whole career.
Yeah.
And Eli's at year 15. Eli's at year 15. Yep.
Where's the?
And Eli's at year 15.
I mean,
that's why Eli's a Hall of Famer right there. That's why Eli is a Hall of Famer. The fact that you're available every week in and week out is something that most quarterbacks can't say. Other than like Brett Favre. There you go.
He's played through some injuries now.
Oh, 15 years. There's no way he was never injured.
You remember 2007 opening game against Dallas. He landed on his shoulder, and he had the sprained AC joint. He couldn't even throw the ball 10 yards in practice that Wednesday, and he was out there against Green Bay at home the following week. I mean, listen, I complain a lot about Eli Manning and the way that he played recently, but toughness and his ability to stand in there and be present every Sunday has never been an issue.
Right.
And for all those people that make comments on my videos about my lists, yes, do I rip on Eli? I go game by game. But Eli is literally one of my favorite Giants ever.
Right.
I don't. If you're a Giants fan, I don't know how he can't be in your top 5. So you know what? Get off my ass. They're always complaining about something, and we're gonna come with I'm gonna be coming with the year-end lists. So keep making comments. I'm definitely getting some ideas from people. The Rosas fan. The Rosas fans kill me.
It's a kicker. Is that what you just want to say?
Rosas has the biggest fan base on our team.
Do you remember in the beginning of the year? Not to throw anyone. Do you remember in the beginning of the year when a certain special teamer wanted it to cool?
Yeah, when they were trying. When they were trying to get us to.
Yes.
We were like, yeah, okay. This is not even making a team.
That's called foresight and intuition, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Now he's one of the best kickers in the league, but whatever. Hey,
it is what it is. Still,
it worked out.
He's also jacked. I've never seen a kicker that was built like Aldrich Rose's.
He's a pretty big dude.
How's his quads?
I mean, they're almost as big as Saquon.
Oh my God, can't be. Oh,
can we please talk about the only play I want to talk about, Dallas? How the hell do you jump from the 4-yard line into the end zone, and his trajectory was still going up?
He's superhuman, and that's exactly why. Like, this is gonna sound really stupid and elementary, but that skill alone is exactly why you would. It's one of the reasons why you would take a running back at 2. Nobody in the league can do that. He's the only one.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's a competitive advantage.
yeah. You saw the meme of him, what was it? Space Jam dunk, and then Saquon was in there extending the ball. That was pretty funny. I think the cap is on hold. It's a 7-1.
Business has just picked up.
It might have.
Are you guys done singing praises of a 5-11 team? Holy.
Back on mute. We're not done. Maybe we are not done.
Well, we're being positive. It was a good show. Feel good.
We gotta get it before you come on.
Yeah.
Captain Negative.
Hold on. We just want to talk about Saquon a little more. Does he want to wait? Hold on. Let's see if he wants to join in. Is James?
No, not at all.
Is James, Jimmy, or Jim there?
No, not at all.
None of them are there.
You guys can put me on hold because I'm too busy laughing. So that you can just put until you're done.
Hold on, but in reference to the Dallas game, can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
I just want to get your take on this.
We going down the rabbit hole here.
We were
seriously.
After they scored, and they got that taunting penalty for 15 yards, right?
Uh-huh.
They kicked the ball off. Corey Coleman gives us a solid return. The ball's on the 50. There's a minute 47 to play.
Uh-huh.
We have Aldrich Roses, who has the strongest leg in the league. That's right, I said it. Don't at me. We're down 1 point.
Uh-huh.
We need 20 yards in a minute 47 to be able to kick a field goal. Now, what I'm saying to you is, with that fact in place, if the Giants were trying to win the game, Saquon touches the ball there.
Oh, stop it. So you're going to tell me they played to win the game the whole game until the last drive?
100%.
Oh my God. I don't agree with that at all. I think they were just inept in trying to win the game. I don't think that it was anything trying not to give Saquon the ball. I think that they were trying to get the ball down the field, and I think that your quarterback's just blah. I mean, they tried so why put Saquon in the game to go, full Michael Jordan on everybody? Like, why isn't that Gallman if you're trying to lose the game? Like, why Saquon in the fourth quarter at all? They were going balls to the wall to win the game. And it had me banging. I don't know if you were listening to the game. I was banging my head against everything was going their way in the early games throughout. Everybody who they needed to lose to get the higher pick was losing. And they're sitting here going balls to the wall. Do I think it would have made sense, Justin, for them to do that? Yes. Do I think they're smart enough to do that? No. I think you're giving them way too much credit.
No, the problem is, here's the difference. Because, the argument that
if they're trying to lose, if you're going to tell me, then why is, to me, Why is Laletta in the game? Why is Eli in the game, and why isn't Laletta in the game? Like, to me, that would have made your argument completely. That they were trying to lose the game, to compete, see what they had in Laletta, but knowing that probably it wasn't going to turn out too fucking good because you haven't seen him all year long and he hasn't played a lot. So, but at least you would have been, yes. Then I could say yes. That the argument is that they were looking to lose the game on purpose or blow it. They didn't even do that. I mean, they had Eli in the game the whole time. So, like, no, I don't think that they would. I don't think they're smart enough to do it. I don't. That's why I'm terrified.
Do you think Eli looked at Gettleman and Gettleman touched his nose? And it was like, if you score, you're off this team the second this game's done.
I don't know what's going on in between the conversations in the back office. I think that they should be a reality show. I'm praying that they get forced to go on Hard Knocks because I think that it is such a cluster.
My God.
I think it's like having Blanche from the Golden Girls. Like,
I wanted
to go on Hard Knocks. It's going to be awesome.
I wanted to talk about this. I thank you, James, for bringing it up.
I hope they get forced to go on Hard Knocks. Please, God, Jesus. I've always said no.
Negative.
And I've always said no Hard Knocks, no Hard Knocks, no Hard Knocks. Yes, I want them to go on Hard Knocks now.
Yes, absolutely, I want them. Just because.
You realize how much
it's between us and the Raiders. That's the problem.
You realize how much of a spike in activity we would see on the site if they were on Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
We'd have so much.
It would be nice.
Oh, the recap shows would be awesome.
It'd be great content-wise. It would be really good.
I just hope that Mara pisses someone off in their front office crew at the NFL, and they're like, "Fuck him, put him in."
Yep,
put the Giants.
That's what I hope. I totally hope it. Yep,
we're on the same.
You know what? Fuck the Giants. Let's do it.
Him and his inept running of the team.
Shame.
Yep.
Shame.
Can't run the team. We're coming in to fucking put you on blast.
Yeah.
We're going to show everybody what a moron you are.
Who are these guys trying to storm the castle outside the building?
Gettleman watching his film on a Wii.
Hold on. That was the other thing I wanted to chat about. If they get on Hard Knocks.
We're getting on Hard Knocks.
We have to try to get there, right?
Well, yeah, without a doubt.
We're getting on Hard Knocks.
We'll be on.
We have to try to get on TV.
Yes. I think there should be a whole episode devoted to us.
I think we get the cat in a cape and send him on his way.
Asking awkward questions to the players.
No,
you guys don't really think you're going to be good this year, do you?
We'll have Justin be the cameraman.
Well, I can get us in because of the...
Justin can get us in. Justin can get us in. Me with the cape and Justin with the wheelchair? Are you kidding me?
100%.
What can be your Captain Negative and what can be your sidekick name?
Oh, my God.
We got to get Justin a sidekick name.
Mr.
Captain Negative and...
Mr. Make-A-Wish.
Mr. Make-A-Wish. Captain Negative and Mr. Make-A-Wish would like to ask you some questions.
Oh my God.
Mr. Make-A-Wish wishes that you answer honestly. And then I ask a fucking...
Up, right?
And then I just come right at them with the questions.
And then just stick you on them.
So, Gettleman, how full of shit would you say you really are?
If he's on Hard Knocks, we're going to need a Yiddish translator. There were 3 words today that I didn't know.
Oh, don't worry. The Giants tweeted out their translations of the words if you didn't know. Good thing they were busy doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would think it would be hysterical if the Giants are on Hard Knocks, and James, if you get to interview Mara, if you ask him, so when you heard that Josh Brown was beating his wife, and you didn't ask him that or his wife anything, Can you help me out?
Dude,
What happened in that interview?
All of the questions, dude. Oh my God! I wish. Give 10 minutes. No, none of them would ever have the balls to do it ever. The questions would just be so ruthlessly brutal and honest. Like how? Like what decision? What world? Like who decided this? Like why did you throw these guys under the bus? Like, did you think 3 months was good enough for like good behavior before you gave this guy a long-term deal? Were you completely embarrassed by the Lil Wayne interview? How did it feel to throw that chair and let all that fury out? What exactly pissed you off? What were you throwing the chair about, John? And not even like let him answer, just like one question after the other.
How come you threw that chair with all your might and it only moved 1 millimeter?
He goes to answer a question, I'm like, wrong, and then I answer him another one.
We need to make it known before that interview that we love Kate. We love Kate Mara.
Yes. This has nothing to do with your daughter.
Right. We love Kate. Kate. Could we get Kate on the...
Can we get Kate to give us a cameo?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Let's put Kate on the cameo.
No, she's not. I don't think she's on.
Hi, this is Kate Mara, and you're listening to the boys from Bleedbigblue.
They hate my dad.
I would just play it on the loop.
They hate my dad.
These guys hate my dad.
Oh, man.
You're listening to the boys from Bleedbigblue. Run the team, Mara.
You're listening to the boys from Bleedbigblue. Have fun storming the castle.
I'm telling my dad you're storming the castle.
Wait, I'm in the castle. Oh my God.
You Rapunzel.
So good.
Man, I hope they get Hard Knocks so bad. It's gonna be the Raiders though.
The second the Hard Knocks, we're planning the trip up, and we're figuring out how we get on.
Oh, instead of doing live streaming during like the games, James, we're gonna do it during Hard Knocks.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
By the way, next year, like we're going hard for the play-by-play.
Well, the play-by-play, I want to live stream it during the actual Hard Knocks. So you want to hear what the people are talking about.
Yeah,
and,
the way that you do that is you go live
right after
for 30 to 45 minutes directly after, and you do it immediate.
Right after it.
Right.
You do an immediate reaction. And then the episode that we're on, we spend 15 minutes of that time talking about how great our hair looks.
Yes. Well, I just gave myself a haircut today, guys. I mean, stellar. Stellar.
Looking sharp.
Yeah, I must say. Yeah, the kid's handsome. I'd buy myself a drink.
So, my favorite question of the Gettleman press conference.
Which one?
First of all, did you guys all watch it in its entirety?
I watched it in its entirety, yes.
My favorite question of the Gettleman press conference, and I don't know who asked it, was when they were like, "Why do you need to watch tape when you just watched the team go 5-11?" And Gettleman, you're like, first of all, if you're watching Gettleman's face during his response to that, he's just like,
I gotta
give
Gettleman credit. I gotta give Gettleman credit for a little bit of credit because
what?
He has this grandpa-like quality to where they
hold on.
away with murder.
James, Jim, and Jimmy are all in agreement on the love of Dave Gettleman. This just in. Go ahead, James.
One aspect of his ability to deflect. Holy shit, dude. Like, there was one point where he was in the middle of answering a question, and he just, like, stopped and, like, pointed to, like, I guess it was maybe, like, Gary Myers, who, like, you didn't see, who works for the Daily News, and I'm pretty sure I think the guy's name was Gary. So, like, as he's answering a question, he stopped, like, hey, Gary, how are you? I mean, he has that, like, and the reporters are just like, oh, shit, like, I can't scream at Grandpa.
Because here's the thing, like, remember who
Grandpa
the general manager was before him.
Oh, my God.
Jerry Reese didn't have that.
Did you? No, because Jerry Reese was young. But did you see the one point? Did you see the one point where he was talking about? It's scary to me how much he spoke about two things: points scored, okay, and that they went 4-4 down the stretch. Horrifying to me. Because it's like they miss it. And he's just scary. But there was one point where he like mumbled over like what he was saying, and he was given like reasons as to why the 4-4 play was good in his eyes. And he was talking about how at practice, like the practices were so good, and then he had the fucking balls to sit there and say in the next breath they were getting results from the practice. The proof was in the pudding, I believe Grandpa Gettleman actually said. And and I'm sitting there and I'm like, we were just 5-11.
Listen.
Yeah, like 5-11. And it's like the first half of the season didn't happen. It's like, we got Jamon Brown in. And that was it. That's the missing link. Like, that was all it took. And it's just scary, man.
I think
interesting thing.
One of the bigger questions, one of the bigger things that I thought was like just straight bullshit is they asked him about Jonathan Stewart and Patrick Omame, and he said they weren't brought here for football reasons. They were brought in here for leadership and change the locker room. And you traded one away. You put the other one on IR, season-ending IR almost. Like, such bullshit.
How
are they changing the culture?
I was literally sitting in the waiting room. My daughter had a doctor's appointment, and I was sitting in the waiting room with an earbud in, listening. And it took every being of every ounce of fiber in my being not to start cursing when I heard that. And that's what I mean. And that's exactly what I mean. It's like some of the things he said. And I'm waiting for the reporters to be like, bullshit. And they're like, no, you can't do that. He just got done with a meal. It's time for his nap. Don't get Grandpa upset.
My God.
Well, so here's the thing. And then, like, when they asked him, the other thing that was sort of alarming to me was when they asked him about the big contracts that he inherited, OV and
go ahead,
Jenkins, and he was like, nah, I mean, I have to review that tape. No, I mean, he's going to review tape on all 53 guys in the next 3 weeks. Like, he's not doing that.
He's gonna have to get a couple. He's gonna have to get some AA batteries for the Wii remote. It's a lot of tape to cover. Oh my God, some horror.
I will say, James, it doesn't sound like, much to your chagrin, I'm sure. It sure doesn't sound like they're trading Odell Beckham.
No, they're not going to. They're not going to take a quarterback either.
Not only was his answer, we didn't sign him to trade him, he followed it up with, you heard what I said.
We heard everything he said. That's why we're still confused.
Right. Listen, personally, I don't think trading Odell for a myriad of of picks and creating a hole on your team that already has a bunch of holes is necessarily the greatest answer. However, what I will say is, if you're not going to trade him, just say you're not going to trade him. Like, that's the one thing that you can say. That Odell would actually probably appreciate.
All options are open. That's what it is. All options
What'd you
are
say?
open. So, if one week somebody trying to get Odell with a ridiculous deal, then, hey, it's on the table. I didn't say I never would.
So here's my thing. I don't know why the fuck do we care what he appreciates? This guy had the balls to, after all the shit, sign a deal, and then 3 weeks into the season, throw the coach and the quarterback under the bus? I mean, do we pretend like that didn't happen? Like, I sit here and some of the things I hear said about this fucking guy, it's like unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then the AB thing, to use AB as an excuse for Odell Beckham Jr.'s behavior, like, who are you comparing him to? Like, if AB was on the reason why everybody's like, oh, you don't say anything about AB, well, because he's not a fucking Giant. I don't care about AB. I care about AB for one reason. Like, I don't care if he's mouthing off and putting shit on Instagram because he's not a New York Football Giant. I don't care about him because he's on my fantasy team, if any reason.
Personal shout out to AB for jacking up the value on Juju Smith-Schuster in my keeper league, where I'm going to be able to keep him next year for a 10th round pick.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Thanks, AB. Appreciate that. Much love, homie.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. This is the same guy that sat there and did that, and we just sit here and he gets a pass. Just gets a pass. It's unbelievable to me. He just gets a pass.
So after the press conference, I sat down and I was like,
this is the question, because I think that you guys might be able to sort of guide me through this. But I was thinking about this today, specifically related to the Lil Wayne interview conversation. And I don't want to mention any names, but there's certain people on the show or that have been contacted by the show that are currently players on the New York Giants who are considering coming on the show. My question to you, Marco, those players, before they go on and do those interviews, they need the team's permission, correct?
No, I don't think they do.
No, not at all.
They do not need the team's permission. Interesting.
No.
Okay.
No. So he chose that on his own accord. That was his own decision. The team knew nothing about it. All of a sudden, they wake up, and there it is.
Well,
and
let me say...
What about the letter on Facebook a couple of weeks ago? What about the letter on Facebook just a couple of weeks? Like, you're not playing. Like, you're not... You promised us you were going to run the table, and then you short-arm the onside kick, and then during practice you bruised your quad, and now you're not here for the last 3 games. Just, like, shut up. Who needs to hear from you?
I would say for the most part they don't need approval. Some people might contractually have it in there, but for the most part, no.
I mean, I'm not using that as a reason to defend Odell.
No, I
I
know.
was thinking about that today, and that's absurd. Like, if I was running the team, if I was Mara,
you would have never let him take that interview.
Even if it wasn't him, I would have somebody whose job it was within the organization to know what press obligations my employees had. Right?
They do. They have Pat Hanlon, but I think that what he handles is any stuff that's set up directly through the team. So if some jerk off wants to do an interview with Lil Wayne for ESPN, Pat Hanlon doesn't necessarily have to know about that because it's not necessarily set up through the Giants. But you're right. Like anything directly through the team needs to be set up through Hanlon. And you would think that if it was the way that you're saying, that they would have just said, "Hey, listen, no, like no."
Well,
also, Hanlon probably was like, "Oh, he has an interview with ESPN. Oh, that's fine." Like he doesn't know that. Most likely, you can get like the intricacies of like.
You don't think that he got that little Wayne was coming? He didn't get he didn't get the featuring.
He didn't
in the memo.
He didn't know it was going to be Wheezy.
He didn't know Wheezy was going to be there. A milli.
They said Wheezy, but he thought the interviewer was short of breath or something along that line.
Yeah. Oh, he must have asthma. Take your time with the interview, Odell. Take your time throwing everybody under the bus.
What was the other? Do you guys have any other big pieces of BS?
Odell was the number 9 pick.
Number 13, no?
I thought he was a top 10 pick.
11.
Comment section, please Google for us.
I think he was at 11.
He wasn't top 10, I know that. 12, thank you.
12, okay.
Wait,
so the number 12 pick.
Wait. There are a few corrections. 12.
Are you telling me that, Justin, are you telling me that if San Francisco called you and San Francisco said, "We'll give you our top pick," and what are they picking, 2 or 3?
2.
And they said, we'll give you our first round pick and our third round pick and a player for Odell. Are you telling me that if you didn't have to give up your 6th, you wouldn't be fucking tempted? And you could walk out of this with 2 to either an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, quarterback and a defensive lineman.
Wait, what's the trade scenario?
The Niner pick.
Right.
So the Niner first round pick, 1st, 3rd this year, and a player.
1st, 3rd this year, and a player? No.
For Odell.
No. 2 first round picks. That's
you guys are crazy.
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I think it's 2 1s, and I would go as far as to say, like, I understand that for most teams this is going to be the case, but it's got to be 2 1s, like this year, like a 1 this year and a 1 next year.
All right, so I'll bite. So let's say it's 2 1s and a player. Forget the 3rd.
2 1s?
Like
the offer's on the
player.
It's 2 1s. Lynch is on the phone right now, and he's saying, "Here's the offer. It's this year's pick, which is the top pick in the draft, which is a top 3 pick, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they picking?
Yeah.
So it's a top 3 pick. You don't have to give me your 6. You don't have to give me your 6. Okay?
Okay. That's important.
Don't have to give me the 6. You give me the 1st. You give me next year. I'll give you next year's 1st, and I'll give you a player off my roster. I'll give you a young guy that you like at either a defensive line or offensive line position that you could bring in to compete with the 2 first rounders. You're telling me you wouldn't take that deal?
Oh, maybe they could take Brett Jones.
No, it's Western.
Bring him over. No, you got Pio. They got Pio. Pio's good.
2 first round. Yeah, 2 first round.
I was like, when he was calling out Pio, I was like, who?
Fucking guy.
It would be if it was to play out that it was 2 first round picks that are both in the top 5, I would do it.
Because here's the thing, like you could parlay that 2 6.
I'm not the only one who thinks that. Cruising 26, 2 top 5 picks and 1 round pick. Hell no. 2 top 5 picks? Yes. 1, yeah. No,
I mean, you can literally, if you don't have to give up your 6th, and you end up with 2 and 6 and a 1st next year, it puts you in position. No one's saying that you have to use 2.
Right.
Like you can parlay those picks into a fortune. You could trade back for both of them. and get yourself a bevy of players with those picks. You could pick the 2 best players on the board and walk away with Haskins and a pass rusher. I mean, think if you had that top 3 pick, the defensive player that you're coming away with in this draft, plus if you came away with Haskins. Or forget Haskins.
We got a donation coming.
What if I told you?
We got a donation coming, and he has a question. This is from Yardley, and he said,
okay.
Keep Eli and draft Drew Lock. Good or bad idea?
I like if you're going to, I think that with this class, I think that you're looking at bringing Eli back. The question here now becomes, at what price do you bring him back? And if you bring him back, does that come with an extension of an extra year? So, in other words, do they take the $24 million salary and add $2 million to it and break it down over 2 years to where now Eli's cap number becomes a very manageable 10 to 12 to 13, and then you draft a quarterback? The question, I'm not high on Locke. If I'm gonna do that, it would be Haskins.
He played pretty well in the bowl game.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, Justin, in terms of where I'm picking. Just from the film that I've watched, in my humble opinion, there's one guy right now. There were 2 guys, and I'm not one of the guys that said, if you guys, I think you guys would. You've been along on the ride with me and what I've been saying. I was high on Herbert. I watched his film. I think he's going to be a good prospect. But when I watched Haskins' film, I came out and said, before Herbert said he was going back to school, that I had Haskins above Herbert. And the reason why I do that is because of not what Haskins is now. The way I look at it is this. People are worried about the 2020 draft, and they're saying don't draft Haskins now. Well, if Haskins came back next year and did anything similar in Ohio State to what he did this year, where would Haskins go in the draft? He'd be right up there with those other friggin' guys, if not still above them. So I think the potential for Haskins, the way he plays the game cerebrally, considering that he is the physical tools, he has them all. The thing that I really like about him is how cerebral he is, the fact that the leader he is, and that he's only been doing it for a year. So if you could bring him in under the tutelage of Eli Manning, and the cap number is right for Eli, and now you're paying both quarterbacks less than what you were paying Eli alone against the cap, now you put yourself in a position to where, okay, you've set yourself up for the future. You don't have to rush Haskins. You can groom him, and then you can put some other pieces in place to still compete and not have to worry about trying to win football games next season and putting yourself in a position where with every win you get, you're in worse of a position to get the fucking quarterback. So I'm all for bringing in a quarterback and having him study under Eli, but if I'm going to do that, it would be Haskins, or I think I would pass and punt to 2020.
Here's my take on it. I don't think that. So I think if you take Haskins, you take Haskins at 6. I don't think, based on Gettleman's press conference today, that you would see them trade up to take Haskins. No. Because
I agree with you.
He said, and I quote, he said, when you make something a priority, that's when you make a mistake. You don't want to make a mistake with a QB. You want to pick the QB within the, I forget what word he used, but I'm going to use the word realm, within the realm of what you're doing. And so that to me says we know that we have X number of holes and slots to fill, and we're not going to force ourselves to take a quarterback before we're ready to. Now, I do think that if Haskins is there at 6, it would be foolish not to take him. However, based on that quote leads me to think that despite all of this conversation about Eli and are we committed to him and this, that, and the other, that if there are other people to take at 6, if that's what they're going to do and they're going to get a quarterback that fits their system or that fits wherever they're picking that they feel comfortable with, that they don't feel is a stretch.
Yeah, I don't think that they're. I'm not. I mean, that's how I would do it. I'd be shocked if on draft night they pick a quarterback. Shocked.
I think the waiting game for 2020 is dangerous. We don't know.
It is.
Teams like San Diego and Pittsburgh are now going to jump into the quarterback game, on top of all the other bad teams that are still in desperate need of a quarterback.
Yep.
We don't know.
Yep.
We don't know the guys.
That was my concern last year, guys. I mean, this is my right now. We're in QB purgatory, and this can go two ways. You can address it, and we can take all of these toys and get the proper piece in place that can use them the right way, and you have a run-pass option and do some stuff and some different things and run a modern fucking offense like some of the teams around the league are doing. Mm-hmm. Or this thing is going to linger. And for all the people that just think that you can just get to 2020 and get a quarterback, it does not work that way. And that's why last year some of us were so adamant about, hey, you're here. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. We don't plan on being here very often again. And here we are. So it's a dangerous time right now with this franchise. Dangerous.
I got a question.
If they take the best player available all through the draft, do you guys honestly think they can come back with Eli Manning for a 16-game season and win? Like win enough to where you're not going to regret it and miss out on one of those quarterbacks. It's dangerous.
Go ahead, Mark. I'll ask your question and then I have a comment.
It's gonna take it off completely. So add the comment, not do it after.
Go ahead. No. So fuck it.
The thing about the best player available, and that's another thing that Gettleman. He said you continually take the best player available in the draft, regardless of position, and that's how you build a great team. The thing about that is that best player available it's not something that I feel like they've been doing as a franchise beyond the first and second round. Make no mistake about it, the urgency and the discontent surrounding the quarterback question is exacerbated by the fact that they've now wasted a third and a fourth round pick on guys that are never going to see the field. And that's a major reason why you won't see them trade up, because they've already invested so many picks in this Eli replacement. It's been such a detriment to the franchise as is. But best player available, you're usually doing that trying to build up some sort of competitive advantage over other teams.
Mm-hmm.
But they also said that prior to this season, this was the other part of the press conference that I was just baffled by, when they were like, we changed defensive scheme, and I'm not used to picking players to play in a 3-4, so that's why it took us a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And, but I want to know why we were promised. I mean, we were promised so much, and no one asked him bluntly, this team was built to win a Super Bowl, weren't they?
No, that was asked, and he just like grandpa'd it off. He's like, "Oh, I thought I thought they were going to
Back
be
in the
what they
summer
are."
of '63.
And then he was just throwing out Yiddish terms. I was like, "Oh, what is this turning into?" The question I wanted to bring up was where do you have Haskins with the group of last year's quarterback?
Haskins would be right. Oh, he would be above Allen in my eyes. Who I think that I think I got it wrong. I've been impressed with Allen over the two. The Mayfield's impressed me all season long.
Me too.
Rosen, I've seen glimpses enough to say he gets it. There's nobody around him. So if they do their job and they build a line there and put some pieces around him, he gets it. He can make the throws. He's just by himself.
Well, got the shaft, by the way. Steve, if you're listening,
yeah,
my heart goes out to you.
Yeah. But Lamar Jackson is exactly what I thought Lamar Jackson would be. I had him number one on my board because I thought that he would be automatically dangerous as a runner. He is, and I think that he's just going to improve as time moves along as a thrower, and the sky's the limit there. The two guys that really impressed me over the last month of the season were Darnold and Allen, and I wasn't high on Allen at all. I thought Allen was the worst of the bunch, and man, he looks good. He is a perfect fit for Bill's Mafia. So right now, I'd have Haskins in that 4 to 5 range. I think that I would probably have him a little, with Rosen. Maybe because of the injury history, I might have him a peg above Rosen, and the fact that he's so young, that I think that he has a ton of upside. I'd have him within, I'd say 4. I'd have Mayfield, Darnold, and Jackson definitely above him, and I'd have Rosen and Allen somewhere along with them. If we're talking about last year, I probably would have had Haskins above Allen. Definitely.
Can I ask a question? Who picked Cam Newton?
What?
Who picked Cam Newton? Was that Gettleman?
No, he was there.
Oh, I could not answer that. I do not know. I don't want to put that on Gettleman.
No, he was in place already.
I worry about Gettleman and his idea of the quarterback.
I worry about Gettleman, man. It's not only his idea of the quarterback. I worry about Gettleman with his value of. I mean, all right. I mean, Barkley's amazing, but just like when you sit there and you tell me that if you look at the way things went this season, and you're going to sit there and tell me that you would have done the same thing 100 out of 100 times. And then you're going to sit there in the next breath and say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. What? I don't know.
So there were a few things that he said about Saquon that I thought were interesting. I mean, we can, and Lord knows that we can discuss whether or not the criteria that he made the decision on was the correct criteria. But after listening to him today, I certainly feel as though the Saquon pick was more about establishing culture or what they thought they wanted the culture to be. Run first. Saquon, for everything that he is, he's a good kid. He says all the right things. He gets it. He's the most mature player on our offense, right? Currently. And so, we can say that those are not things that should be considered when making the pick, right? You should value the quarterback over those things. But I think that it would be foolish to say after listening to him talk, that those factors were not. I mean, those factors were definitely considered.
But that's the thing, dude. But listen to me. Do you like the kid is a phenomenal talent. He's Barry Sanders like. I'll give you that. Okay? He's a phenomenal person. And he's a quality player in the locker room. He's a quality person in the locker room. He does change the culture. He gives you all of those things, okay? It doesn't scare you that at 2 tips the fucking scales, knowing that he just brought in Jonathan Stewart and the other moron for the same exact reasons? So add up how much Jonathan Stewart made. Add up how much Omaha made. And then put that with what you're paying your running back, who you just took second in the draft. And how much are you paying just for the culture in the locker room?
Oh, that's a lot of cash, my friend.
But that's a difficult thing for me in terms of an argument that you're making, because you're also the person that sits there and tells us beyond a shadow of a doubt you need to get rid of Odell, not because of talent, because he's a cancer. So you have this kid who, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is a guy, like, in addition to being a bell cow on the field, he's a bell cow off the field. This is a guy that they're going to be able to center their franchise around.
I get it, Justin. I get it, but
not Odell Beckham Jr., regardless of his talent. And that I think that Odell is one of the most talented players in the league. But the team knows that even though they paid him $90 million, they can't sit there and rely on him to make correct decisions and be that guy that you can center a franchise around, right? So the question was, at the same time, you had a quarterback that, for whatever reason, they put a grade on and thought he could compete. And so they had an opportunity to take that next generation talent, put him in now with a quarterback that they thought could still compete. The thing that scares me about the whole thing is that I think that they looked at the results of the season and they said, we had 8 or 9 games within one score. Eli can still compete. Eli's not the problem. But
yes.
If you can't sit there and say you have to cut Odell out because he's the cancer, and then get upset at them for taking guys that have character and moral makeup.
Because it's 2 different conversations. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because I could feel like I want to get rid of the cancer. I could also feel like, are you telling me that if I don't bring in, like, Jonathan Stewart, Omaha, and Barkley are the only 3 guys I could bring in to change my culture? Like, there's no other way to do it? Like, I can get rid of Odell Beckham Jr. and handle the draft last year a completely different way and still change the culture. What if I told you that I didn't take Barkley and I traded back to 5. And I got myself Bradley Chubb with a couple of other picks. And I started changing my culture on the defensive side of the ball because I got rid of some of these hotheads and started building around Bradley Chubb, who had 12 sacks and a whole bunch of quarterback hits this year. And I had a couple other picks along with that. And I was able to get, I don't know, maybe for around $7 million less than I'm paying Barkley, maybe piece together. And I don't know, let's take away Stewart, too. Now I got an extra $13 million. Are you telling me that I can't go find 2 running backs for that amount of money that'll give me the production combined that Barkley would have had, and then had other pieces in place on this defense, etc.? And that wouldn't have changed the culture?
What I'm saying to you, like, that's fine. Like, that's all well and good, what you've outlined. But let's be real, all right? Bradley Chubb went to the
Broncos,
Denver Broncos, right?
Yeah.
So if you're telling me as part of this, in this scenario where I get Bradley Chubb, I also, at the same time, somehow in a separate deal get rid of Odell Beckham, then you're saying to me, so you have, let's look at Denver. Bradley Chubb's not the only defensive piece in Denver.
Justin, but think of what you would have got for acquiring Odell. I didn't give anything up for my pick, so I traded back. I got more picks. You trade Odell, you're getting more picks. You've completely redone the face of your roster with early first and second round picks.
Hold on. Another donation came in. I want to get the question in from Yardley, and he said he's kind of happy that the Giants didn't win the last game. Am I wrong feeling that way? The 6th pick sounds so much better.
No, Yardley.
10th. No, we're agreeing with you.
You're not wrong. You're
not incorrect.
You were actually
very true. But no, you're not wrong. I mean, that was a torn. We were torn, right? We never want to lose to the Cowboys, but at the same token, when all is said and done, it was probably. I mean, you're going to feel. Would you have felt better by beating the Cowboys in a meaningless game where their whole team wasn't playing and picking 12? No. So just be happy that we're where we are and have a chance to get one of the top 6 players coming up.
So I want to go over the overall scope of Gettleman's press conference. You feel that he is going to do blank with the first round pick?
I think he's going to draft a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I think.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if he took the tackle from Alabama there either.
It's either going to be. That's the thing. Can I say this? It's going to be a hog molly. I'm going to give you 2 names. It's going to be. It's going to be the tackle from Alabama, or it's going to be Ed Oliver. That's what it's going to be.
I don't think Oliver's going to be on the board at 6.
It could be.
I'd be shocked. I'd be thrilled. I'd be fucking thrilled.
I think here's why I think he could be. I think, especially as we get closer and closer to the draft, and ESPN goes into their 24-hour news cycle coverage, Oliver's the type of guy that could have something pop up right around the draft time that hurts his draft value.
Like having a mask on and smoking weed?
Smoking weed.
Pulling a ton, and you think Gettleman will take him? There's no way.
If he pulls the tonsil?
He's a hot molly. Listen. Here's
tonsil.
Here's the other thing. What did he say today? He said you can never have too many. He went first and second a few years ago in Carolina. So, it's going to be heavy there. And I think that, honestly, they'll look at a situation like Eli Apple, where they took a cornerback with a top 10 pick, even though I think we can all agree that was a reach for Apple. I think they'll look at that Apple pick. It'll scare them from going secondary too early, right? And I think they're gonna go hog molly. They're gonna try and get big, right?
I think it's gonna be.
Well,
I think it's the wrong move.
Defense is.
I think it's defensive line.
Yeah, I would say. If you're going to tell me, but here's the thing. I could see taking the tackle Johnson, right? That's his name, right? The kid from Alabama, the huge dude. But if you take him, can he play right tackle? Because I'm not taking a right tackle at 6. And if you just came out of the press conference telling me how we scored all these points, but our defense gave up, if for it to make sense to me, it needs to be the pass rusher or a quarterback. because I don't know how without a first round pick going to for an immediate impact player that you can pair with Carter, Hill, and some of these other young pieces that you have on defense. I don't know how you're getting better to seriously compete on the defensive side of the ball without getting a legit stud pass rusher in here.
Is it Jonah Williams? That's what everyone's chiming in.
Oh, is that who it is? Okay, yeah. The beast. I'm in my quarterback mode right now. I haven't even looked at any of the positions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be defensive line. I think it's going to be the wrong move, man. And it's just going to get so much harder to eventually replace Eli when Eli does have to, when it is that time. It was probably that time 3 years ago.
You know, there is another way. There is another way. I just don't know. God, I'm not sold. You know, somebody brought up to me the Teddy Bridgewater thing the other day, and I shot it down immediately, and I said, you have to think about this thing logically. Like, you can't just, this isn't Madden, but you could just say, okay, well, give me Teddy Bridgewater. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, right? So if the Giants were to move on, if you're bringing in Bridgewater or you're bringing in the guy if you're going to go the complete 180 route, then there's a guy that I would really entertain bringing in that isn't Bridgewater, and it's Nick Foles. And it's not because I love Nick Foles as a player whatsoever, and I don't think that he's the second coming of Joe Montana or anything like that. But I think that if you're going to sell me on trying to win now and moving on from Eli and saying we're still going to try to compete now and we're going to use our draft picks and the money that we got from Eli to build up the rest of this roster, and we're going to invest some money in Nick Foles.
Right.
Nick Foles has proven that he can be successful in this offense. I mean, if you're gonna tell me that you're gonna win, that the goal is to win now, and you feel that the roster is to win now, and you feel like you're a couple of pieces away, but you're gonna move from Eli, and you wanted to bring in a veteran quarterback. To me, the veteran quarterback would be Foles, because I've seen what he can do in this offense, and that's the only reason I have Foles above any of those other guys is I've seen what he can do with Shermer.
Foles is the answer if Eli retires.
Yes, I could see that.
Right.
Yes.
Because I don't think I based on the conservative nature of the way that Gettleman has handled his first year on the job, I don't see them taking a rookie like Haskins if Eli retires and just give him the keys to the kingdom. Even though
I don't think I would think that would no. I have no problem. Like when we spoke last year, and they were like, "Whoa, how can you play a guy like Darnold? Like he would get killed behind this line." Like, no, fuck that. Like Rosen and Darnold and those guys, like they played in college. They played a lot of games and let them play. I think that you would be doing Haskins a disservice if you brought him in and played him right away. I don't think on the NFL level that he would be ready to play week 1 next year. So if you're bringing in Haskins, you're bringing him in to be groomed for later on in that season, if things don't go well, to take a look at him, or down the line, depending on what happens.
Cruz in 26 doesn't even think that Haskins will be there at 6. You think he's going to go at 5?
I think that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody traded up to get him. I would not be, and I think that you guys have to remember that this isn't about right now, that it's about, you're looking at a kid that should be playing another 2 years in college, but before he even comes out. So you're looking and saying, you're trying to project down the line and say, this is where this kid now is on the biggest level of college football, in one of the best conferences, playing the best competition. This is where he is after a season. So if I can get my hands on that now, and handle it the right way and groom it the right way and let the kid get stronger and let him learn the offense. And I think the teams are going to be really impressed when they bring him in and they put him on the board about how cerebral he is and how he is with the offense. I really do.
The question is, and I don't want to ask this question, but I want to ask you another question first, and that is, Tim, are you alive?
No, Tim bounced.
Tim's taking
we
notes.
haven't heard from Tim in like an hour. Any case, I don't know if, the other thing that you have to keep in mind is I don't know, like, if you go to Nick Foles and you say, here's the plan, like, we're going to bring you in, you're going to be the guy, but we're also going to invest a pick in Haskins if he's there at 6, right? First of all, I think that they would have that conversation with any quarterback that they would bring in, because I think that guy, if you bring in that quarterback, no matter who he is, I think he has to know what his role is, right?
Well, I got news for you. If you're telling me that you're going to say, okay, listen, we feel like, this offense, sky's the limit with a guy like Foles, and we're going to make a harsh decision and get rid of Eli, and we're going to bring in Foles, then I don't want to use that 6th pick on Haskins. Like, because now if I got Foles, he's coming here on a 3. Foles is 29 years old. So You're looking at a short-term window answer.
Foles is the true bridge then. So you don't
then
take
Foles is your bridge to your yes. And I'm not happy about that. Like, I wouldn't. That's not my first option. I'd rather them restructure Eli and draft Haskins. But if you're telling me we're going to completely turn the page and you're not going to draft a quarterback, then maybe that's the best route. I don't know, but maybe that's the best route. Justin, the question becomes, if Eli doesn't retire, right, and you cut him, now you got the dead money against the cap, plus signing a Nick Foles type. And you would think Super Bowl MVP, just took his team to the playoffs, who knows what's going to happen. You would think that Nick Foles is going to want to get paid. So the flip side of the flip side is that if you were to go that 180 route, you could end up spending more money on the quarterback position than you did this year. If you take the dead money hit plus what you have to pay Foles.
That's why.
Oh, can you imagine?
That's why the conversation between Eli and Gettleman on Monday, between those two benches.
Adam wants to let us know the stream is great. He wants to thank you, and let's see. I like my women like I like my QBs like I like my women. 21 years old.
That's right.
There's your answer to that.
All right.
Look at the witty people in the comment section.
Hello, ladies.
And Tim went to Uncle Getty's.
Tim's at a bar.
Here's the other thing about the quarterback, right? So the Giants have the 6th pick, and I'm just throwing out there for the record that win against Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah,
it's looming pretty large, right?
Hey man, I don't want to. Don't get me fucking started. Don't get me started. When you guys were talking about running, when you remember, I like winning. I like winning. Remember?
It feels good. It feels good. But
it feels great now.
What I'm saying now is, like, Tampa, right? So you have Arizona, they're 1, right? Is San Francisco 2?
Well, who made the decision that they're going back to Jameis Winston? Because they just fired their coach. So I'd like to know who made the decision that for the new coach. Like, before they even hired the new coach, they've decided who the quarterback's going to be?
See,
are they going to hire the coach on the? I hope they hire the coach on the premise of. I hope their interview. Their first question is are you sold on Jameis Winston? And if the guy says no.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal on that. The beat writer for one of the beat writers for the Bucks said that the GM came out and said that the next coach has to be all in on Jameis Winston, and I replied, "Is this a smokescreen? Why would you play all your cards right prior to the draft?" And she replied that they wouldn't be paying him $20 million for him to be a smokescreen. But I said, wouldn't you be able to him? Then the barrage of Tampa Bay fans that are like Jameis Winston, and then you don't know what you talk people relax. He's on thin ice, okay?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. And you don't have a coach.
Here's my thing.
Who's gonna? And Jacksonville scares me
for the trade up.
Winston,
yeah.
If they cut Jameis Winston,
someone's gonna sign him.
Who's gonna sign him?
Oh, somebody would sign him.
Who?
Without a doubt.
The Giants. No, I don't know.
Go around the league. Just go to the teams that need quarterbacks. You're telling me that one of them wouldn't take a shot on Jameis Winston? Just look at some of the quarterback play around the league. Blaine Gabbert. You're telling me Jacksonville wouldn't take a shot on Jameis Winston as compared to what they got? Let's say it doesn't go in the draft and Jameis Winston's sitting out there. Jacksonville may not bring him in and take a shot on him. Who else is out there that could possibly bring him in? And even if
I think the Jags are the most likely spot. Maybe Tennessee.
You can also make a case. Tennessee. You could also make a case that one of these teams with older quarterbacks could potentially bring them in, just to sit there and maybe learn and see if they catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe bring them in and have them go under Roethlisberger.
San Diego,
and have them go under Rivers, or or Breeze if Bridgewater moves along. I mean, you don't.
Right.
You know.
What I'm saying is that. So that kind of proves my point. What I'm saying is that Jameis Winston being cut by the Bucs just ensures that the Bucs would take a quarterback at 5. So the Bucs become our problem.
Be in play.
Right.
Unless they address it via free agency. I mean, I have no clue who that coach is going to be. Depending on the coach, there's going to be quarterbacks that fit that coach's system. I don't know if they decide that they don't want to take. That's a team with a horrible defense.
So, Jay,
that's a team that has a lot of holes itself.
For this year.
So, they better off.
For this draft, would you rather draft at 6? Or would you rather draft at 13 and have more value?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather draft at 6, Patricia Traynor.
Which, by the way,
holy shit.
Pat, if you're listening, and I think that you might be because you have your own podcast with that guy from the Giant Insider.
She's getting...
That's ridiculous.
They get paid?
She's getting trampled.
They get paid. Oh my God, that was one of the worst tweets ever. How can you even say? What did I reply? Then I was like, is this Gettleman?
Gettleman's
kidding me? How can you even say that? You don't believe that. You can't have any clue of what you're talking about and believe the words that you just wrote into there, unless you're Gettleman.
No, but what I think is interesting. And there's truth to this, I believe, on its most basic level. Investing in a quarterback with a premium pick now, right? Going all in with the quarterback is one of the scariest propositions in sports because you're either paying a guy like Kirk Cousins, like Minnesota did with Kirk Cousins.
Oh, what a horrible move.
You're paying like Aaron Rodgers, right? To keep a guy of his caliber, you're paying 1/6 of your cap every year, right? So to keep the guys that are already proven either that they can do it at an elite level or they can do it at a moderately acceptable level, you're paying through the nose, right?
Yep.
If you take a young guy like a Blake Bortles in Jacksonville, like a David Carr in Oakland, when it comes time to make a decision to move on beyond that, you're so petrified to do it because of what you've invested in the quarterback to this point. The teams that have the most success, and I said this months ago, are the teams that can find that quarterback in the middle of the first round or later. And they run on that contract with that quarterback while he makes his ascension and becomes elite. Once they have to pay him, then you're screwed. But the secret sauce in the NFL is finding that quarterback at that value point. Because if you invest a top 10 pick in a quarterback and you miss, like, that's it.
No, I don't really. I mean, look what they were able to do with Goff and Wentz on those contracts. I mean, and Wentz. I mean, you could make an argument that they missed on Wentz. I mean, he's been a really good player when he's out there, but not the same off the injury. Maybe different coming back next year, hurt again. And they're still able. I mean, the reason why they could afford Foles is because they have Wentz on that rookie deal, and Wentz went second. And look what the Rams could do. They took Goff one, and look what they could do.
But what I'm saying now is, if you're the Eagles, right? I mean, do you think the Eagles are really looking forward to life with Carson Wentz, who's coming off an ACL and a broken back?
No, I think that they'll probably end up. Yeah, you're going to have insurance all the time now. But he's their guy.
And I'm not convinced that he's the answer, and I don't think the Eagle fans are either.
But look at it this way, Justin, right? Look at it this way, right? Let's say that this is third year, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 years left on his deal. He's not going to get restructured or get an extension coming off of back-to-back injuries. So let's say he plays next year and lights it up. You still have him under contract for a year, and you could still franchise him so that he proves to you he can stay healthy for more than 2 years in a row. So you're still not crippled. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if by some chance he comes back next year and gets hurt again, he's on his rookie deal. You can rip up the last year, throw it away, and probably take a dead money hit of like $2-3 million and walk away from the deal.
And then you have to start over. But
they've already got a Super Bowl. I mean, it's a risk. Like you have to. They've structured it differently now with these quarterbacks, and now with the slotting and the salaries, they've structured it completely different, so that it's not crippling, so that it's not going to destroy you. There are ways out of these rookie deals, and if you have to invest moving forward, then that's on you. And if these kids end up turning out good, and they end up, Goff is going to get paid, Mahomes is going to get paid, these guys are going to get paid, then if it works out, great. But, I mean, you can't predict injury, and I would say that the Wentz pick was a good pick. I didn't think it was at the time, but Wentz turned out to be a much better quarterback than I anticipated, and he's just had some bad luck early. But I don't think that they regret it, and I think that, yes, they're tied to him for the next year or two. I also think that with quarterbacks, and this is the difference between running back, like I can see a scenario where Wentz is, even with the injuries, he maybe have to become a pocket passer. But if you're looking at it that way, even if he becomes a statue in the pocket with just a little mobility, he's got another decade left to play football in this league. And cerebrally and physically, he's smart enough to compete and give you enough at the quarterback position to make plays. So I think that they're fine with him. I think it's going to be, can he stay healthy? And they have him under enough control to make sure that they're not throwing money away while they can see that.
All right, gentlemen. I think we're going to We're going to end on that note.
Wrapping it up on Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Yuck.
What is your plan for the playoffs? Do you want to maybe try to do a stream during one of the games?
We can try. I could see what the schedule is on Sunday, and maybe do the early game on Sunday or something like that. Try to have a little fun with it. Maybe have the Super Bowl. Maybe do that together. That would be pretty fun. So we could see. Whatever you guys want to do. The more content, the merrier. So it is what it is.
We didn't mention that there was a passing of Mean Gene Okerlund.
Right.
Oh,
Mean Gene Okerlund,
yeah.
RIP.
Moment of silence, Mean Gene. Well, Mean Gene.
A lot of people kicked the bucket today.
Okay, very good.
Captain.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, you
Captain
have made world. Put that cigarette out.
Did you hear that?
Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Bye-bye then.
Um,
Gene.
Okay, very good.
Can you hear
Ric
this?
Flair, you have made world. Put that
start.
cigarette out.
I guess you can't hear it. I was playing a Mean Gene clip.
Oh, Mean Gene. Oh, poor Mean Gene.
And who else? Someone else passed. Who did you mention? I think there was a third person.
Marty Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
And Super Dave Osborne.
I don't know his real name.
Captain and Tennille.
Captain and Tennille. Yep.
Yeah.
And wasn't Tennille right there?
Yeah, according to my iPhone update.
Give me a good Captain. What's a good Captain and Tennille song, Justin? Give me one of their.
Wow.
What do we got?
That I can't tell you the last time I was the Captain and Tennille.
I can't
I know
name
that
a Captain
there's
and
definitely
Tennille's.
one good one.
Hold on here just a second. Hey Siri, play some Captain and Tennille.
Hold on. I have to. I know that there's a good one. I just can't think of the name of it.
Okay, Siri, stop. Hey Siri, stop playing. Love can keep us together.
There it is. You kept it under 10 seconds. This way, they're not going to steal all the money from the show. Haha. It's funny.
Yeah, I tried to keep it under 10.
I think it's 30, but I don't want to mess with that.
Are they going to take all our money now?
Yeah, they're going to take all our hard-earned money.
Captain, because of Captain.
Tennille. All right.
Love will keep us together.
It has been a surprising, easygoing podcast. It feels like it's been forever though. It kind of has though.
Sweet talking girl comes along, singing a song. Bleedbigblue, baby. Always.
Till next week.
Always, yes. Till next week, gentlemen.
All right, James. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
And let's see. Everyone logging out. So if you are still here with me, please don't forget to subscribe. Turn on notifications. This way, when we do some live shows, you'll be in the know. And check out the links that I'll put in the description. We stream every Wednesday, usually at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're also pretty big on Instagram, so if you can, check me out. Talk to everyone later. Peace.